Good evening, I'm Jose Cardenas. Congressman Ed Pastor is here to talk about immigration reform and the latest on the crisis in Syria. Plus, in Sounds of Cultura, SOC, learn about the Latin sound of bandleader Rafael Chapito Chavarria. All this coming up next on Horizonte.
Funding for Horizonte is made possible by contributions by the Friends of Eight, members of your Arizona PBS station.
Thank you for joining us. President Obama wants lawmakers to weigh in on whether to use military force in Syria. Here now to talk about the situation, along with other issues, is Representative Ed Pastor of Arizona's 7th Congressional District. Congressman Pastor, it's always good to have you on the show.
Good to see you.
And we tend to have you on when things are popping all over the place. The big news right now, of course, is Syria. Some members of the congressional delegation have already indicated where they're leaning. Congressman Grijalva has said he's a no. Congressman Schweikert and Gosar have indicated that they're probable no's as well. And the rest of the delegation, what can you tell us about them?
Well, I think they're undecided at this point. I saw Ron Barber this week, and Ron told me that he was going to go back and look at the resolution. I think that a big issue is the resolution itself. The Senate Foreign Relations Committee passed their resolution, which is very limited, 60 days, 30 days afterwards, and Senator McCain added another criteria that Obama has to look at what he's going to do in the civil war in Syria. He felt that the resolution was strong enough. We're tired of war, Iraq, Afghanistan, and so I think right now, as I understand, over 50% of the population doesn't want us to go in there. But I don't think there's any question that the regime used nerve gas. I mean, 1,400 people died. A great number of that is children and women. And the president was right. There is a red line, but the red line was drawn back after World War I, and things have changed a lot. So I think the president finds himself in a situation where he said, they've crossed the red line, we have to do something. He looked around, and Britain said, no way, we won't go. France is not really engaging. Russia and China are totally against it. Iraq is against it. And so now he decided to come to Congress. And so the same feelings and the split that you have in this country about doing something is there in Congress. And so the resolution that passed the Senate committee was 10-7. So that indicates to me that maybe they don't even have the 60 votes to pass that resolution out of the Senate.
And where are you on this?
Well, I mean, I'm going to go back and I'm going to look at the situation. What will be the determining factor for me? What will be the consequences? Everybody talks about national security. Well, I see national security in terms of if we do a strike, as limited as it may be, what will be the ramifications for the countries around Syria? You have Israel, you have Lebanon, you have Turkey, and you have Iraq, and not too far you have Iran, and so that whole area obviously is in turmoil because of the Civil War. So I'm going to be involved in some classified hearings to see what will be the limited and tangible strike, where they're going to strike, what type of assets they're going to strike, and so I think once I get that information, I will probably be in a better position to make up my mind.
Let's talk about another very hot issue, though it doesn't seem to have generated as much discussion over the recess as many people thought it would, and that's immigration. People thought that during the recess there would be mounting opposition to immigration reform, but that doesn't seem to have occurred.
No, because I think what happened is that the advocates of immigration really pushed in terms of keeping the attention to go positive. And as you know, here in Phoenix, we had a number of advocates, dreamers, who protested in front of ICE. You had groups of dreamers that were out canvassing Matt Salmon's congressional district. They were at his town hall. And so I think you had most of the debate, and it was led by Senator McCain and Senator Flake, that Arizona had to get on the bandwagon and be more supportive of immigration reform.
So what's going to happen when you go back? Are you going to be able to address this right away, or are
Well,
we looking?
the first issue we're going to address right away is obviously the resolution on Syria. And then September 30th is the end of the fiscal year for FY13. So that means we have to adopt a continuing resolution that'll keep the government going forward from October 1st forward into 2014. So the issues is, for how long will this continuing resolution be? For the amount of money? And how will sequestration play a role? And will it get the votes either in the House and the Senate, because you have a group of people in the House that want to cut further, and you have a group of people that will say the cuts are too much. And so that debate will take us into September 30th and maybe a little beyond. So those two issues are paramount in September. I believe that the Judiciary Committee in the House will continue to look at 5 or 4 different bills and maybe pass them out of the committee, and some have been passed out of the committee. And maybe in October, we'll be able to see floor action on some of the immigration-related bills in the House.
What do you think of the proposal to have a separate bill for the Dreamers and have that be the only group that is eligible for citizenship?
Well, I believe that even the Dreamers themselves will tell you they want the whole family. I mean, the big issue has been the separation of families. And but I think that as we go along, it may become an issue that kids who were brought here at a young age and may be given a pathway to citizenship, and the older generation may only be given a status of being here, being able to stay here legally. So that may be a decision that's further down the road. At this point in my decision making, I will support an immigration bill that provides a pathway of citizenship to all the people who are undocumented. So that's my position right now.
Are we going to see comprehensive immigration reform, either one big bill or a series of bills that address all the different topics?
Well, the only way you're going to see it if the Senate, who already has passed their comprehensive bill, is willing to take the 5 separate bills, and there's a lot of commonality. Both bills will have E-Verify. Both bills will have visa reform. Both bills will have something to do with agriculture visas. Border security will be in both bills. And in the House bill, we may only deal with the Dreamers having a pathway to citizenship, and the other undocumented, the older generation, only have a legal status. So if the Senate and the House agree to take the 5 separate bills of the House, the comprehensive bill of the Senate, and meet as a conference and find how they can draft a common bill, a conference bill, then that will come back to the House, and you'll have a chance to have it adopted. There'll be debate, but no amendments, and the Senate will do the same thing with that conference bill. So that would be the only mechanism I see right now of having a comprehensive, what may be a comprehensive immigration bill.
And what's the earliest we're likely to see that? End of the year?
Late October at best, and probably into November, December.
Now, you touched on this subject a little bit in your earlier comments in terms of what's waiting for you when you get back to Washington. But what about the budget? You have a group of Republicans threatening to refuse to raise the debt ceiling unless Obamacare is defunded. Is that going to happen?
Well, you may have that issue first show itself up of funding Obamacare in the continuing resolution. There has been some senators, conservative Republicans, saying that we should shut down the government because October 1st is the implementation of Obamacare. And if you're going to stop Obamacare, you want to do it September 30th. And so either you waive the individual mandate or you defund it through the continuing resolution, because that takes you into fiscal year 14. So that may be probably the first instant where you'll see the debate over Obamacare and continuing to fund it.
And what do you think is going to happen?
Well, I from what I see, I don't think that that'll be an issue. It may become an issue, but I think the continuing resolution, and nobody wants to shut down the government in terms of people who want to see the government continue at the level that's decided. So then the lifting of the debt ceiling will be where Obamacare may come up back again. And so that'll be probably sometime in mid-October.
One of the issues that's hot, no pun intended, right now in Arizona is the Yarnell fire and the controversy over the federal government's decision not to provide emergency disaster relief.
Well, FEMA has an assessment, a way of assessing damage, insurance, those factors, and make a determination to see whether or not the damage and the destruction, the tragedy was enough to declare it a federal emergency so that you can have assistance be delivered. FEMA said that they felt that at this point it did not meet those standards. The governor is going to appeal, and during the appeal process, there's a letter supporting Yarnell signed by the congressional delegation. All 9 of us are going to sign it. The irony about the whole thing is that people who were against the funding of the relief to the hurricane victims, Sandy, are now the ones saying that we need to give relief in this particular situation. My belief has always been when you have a national emergency or an emergency that is damaging, whether it be Yarnell or the hurricane or Katrina or an earthquake, that as American citizens, as neighbors, we help our neighbors, and so we provide the emergency care. But I see more and more reluctance on behalf of people who say, I don't want to help anybody else, but then when it happens to them, they run and say, hey, we need the assistance. And so I find it ironic that there's a great inconsistency in how we're doing it. But I support the emergency aid to Yarnell,
as does the entire
signed
delegation.
The letter, and as the entire delegation will support it.
So last topic, and we're almost out of time. The delegation itself, new members. You're the senior member of the delegation.
The dean.
The dean, yes. So how do you view it in terms of the relationships within the delegation, better or worse?
Well, we now started again to have breakfast, so we've had a number of breakfasts, and the delegation has been good about participating. Yarnell is a good example. Congressman Gosar is circulating the letters. He represents the area, and I think all 9 of us are going to sign the letter in support of the appeal. Ann Kirkpatrick, Congresswoman Kirkpatrick, and Congressman Gosar recently had a joint town hall on Resolution Copper. There's great relationships, I think, with Congresswoman Sinema and Congressman Salmon, because I've noticed and I've been involved in some of their work. Raul Grijalva, Congressman Grijalva and Gosar have worked on some other issues dealing with public lands. And so I think that we may differ on issues, but I think when it comes to commonality where it's Arizona and important for Arizona, we come together. Or if it's an issue where the 2 people find or 2 members or 3 members find a commonality. So I've signed a number of letters that are being circulated by my colleagues, whether they be Republican or Democrats. I'm very optimistic.
So we may find the Arizona delegation as a model for the rest of Congress. We'll see what happens. Congressman, it's good to see you as always.
Good to see you as always.
And look forward to having you back on the show.
Now I'm looking forward to Chapito Chavarria.
That's our next segment. What an introduction. In Sounds of Cultura, SOC, 99-year-old bandleader Rafael Chapito Chavarria, who is to this day a well-known musician in the Phoenix area, has a signature style where he combined popular Mexico City tropical rhythms of the 1940s and the 1950s with the American jitterbug and swing. We'll talk about an upcoming event as well as a documentary showcasing his music and life. But first, we want to give you a chance to listen to Pachanga, recorded when Chapito was the bandleader of the Calderon House Band from 1963 to 1964, as well as show you photos from the Latin music scene in Phoenix in the 1960s.
Here at Horizonte, we want to hear from you. If you have comments, story ideas, or questions, email us at horizonte@asu.edu.
Here now with me to talk about the Rafael Chapito Chavarria is Ray Gumby Salazar. Ray is a well-known entertainer and vocalist in the early 1950s. That's when he started. Also here is Devon Leal Bridgewater. Devon is the musical director for the upcoming Chapito Chavarria Orchestra concert at the Musical Instrument Museum. He's also an instructor at Phoenix College in the Chicana and Chicano Studies Department. Gentlemen, thank you both for joining us on Horizonte. And after that musical introduction, you can see why the congressman, who was our last guest, was so excited about getting to this interview, and so am I. We should first thank the Chavarria family for providing those pictures that we saw, those magnificent pictures that kind of capture the music scene in Phoenix in the 50s and 60s. And Ray, I think people are going to find it hard to believe that you were a vocalist in the early 1950s, but that's because you were just a kid at the time.
Yeah, I was 5 years old. Yeah, and I wasn't a vocalist then. I was a dancer. They used to call me El Rey del Mambo. And I became their floor show in 1953.
At the Calderon
Ballroom.
One of the famous ballrooms in Phoenix at the time.
Yes.
And did you perform with Chapito?
Well, like I said, I was the floor show, so every time they played, I was there entertaining the people, as a dancer. But Luis Estrada would pull me up and show me how to play congas, how to play maracas.
And you later became a well-known musician in your own right and singer, and still are.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, and it was because of looking at Luis Estrada. I was little, and I would just sit. I always had the talent of music, you know, thank God. But I'd see him and I'd eat him live, you know.
And he was one of the big names too, along with Chapito.
Yes.
So Devon, you're an academic, but you're also a musician, and you've gotten involved in this project. How so?
Well, as the musical director, and Paige Martinez is the filmmaker who's putting this all together, and so we've been very lucky in that we've been able to find some of the musicians that used to work with Chapito. I actually worked with him before I went off to college, but the trumpet player, the other trumpet player, John Eth, worked with him as well, and Brad Botter, the tenor saxophonist, and so that was a very interesting part of the project, was getting the guys back that had actually worked in the band with Chapito. And we have been doing interviews with Chapito down at Post 41.
He's about to turn 100, is that right?
Yes, he's 99 now, and he's going to turn 100. So
In April.
In April.
Yeah.
And the MIM, the Musical Instrument Museum, has been gracious enough to provide the facility, and they're also going to be doing an exhibit showing his original music manuscripts.
Now, what was distinctive about him was the style that he imported, in a sense, from Mexico City. Describe that, and then the mixing with what was popular in the United States at the time.
Well, his career is very interesting because the style of music that he was really driven by and influenced by was a group called Sonora Santanera. And they were a very popular group in Mexico City, kind of what we call tropical, and it was elegant dance music, big band music, big Latin orchestrations. And so this was, his desire was to keep that music going and to harken back to those days in Mexico. And he also played a lot of American jazz music and swing music. So we're all going to incorporate all that music into this concert at the MIM.
And Gumby, what was the mood in Phoenix at the time when you were a little bit older? But this the clubs were very popular. People went to them a lot and kind of hung out. The Congressman, one of them, as you mentioned off camera. Describe that for us.
After Chapito or after
during
Calderon?
this time period, yeah.
Well, at Calderon, the street was dirt, and it was county. The street was called Henshaw, on 16th Street in Henshaw, and so it was the first Latin club, the Latin ballroom for Hispanics to go and dance and let their hair down. But the thing is that Chapito, La Sonora Santanera would come and play there,
From Mexico.
And from Mexico, and people go crazy, and no electrified. It was all acoustic and beautiful, But what Chapito did and was put this tropical music. There was no cumbia, there was no mixtex back then. It was all cha-cha, mambo, charanga, that kind of music, tropical music.
Beautiful, elegant music.
Yeah, and Luis Estrada, I tell people that Frank Sinatra was in the English field being the crooner, and Luis Estrada in the Spanish field was doing the crooning.
Devon, we're almost out of time.
Yes.
But two things quickly. One, the documentary will talk not only about Chapito's music, but also the discrimination that he faced. And then, before we run out of time, tell us about what's coming up at the MIM.
Okay, well, like I said, we've done some filming at the Post, and Chapito was one of the veterans that was instrumental in getting Post 41 going. And, because the veterans came back and they didn't have a place to congregate, and that's where some of his best gigs were. And so.
And he experienced discrimination while he was in the service.
Yes, in the service, he talks about some bad experiences, namely in Kansas.
And the documentary is going to cover some
and
of
we're
that.
going to cover all those issues.
And we're almost out of time.
Yes.
Tell me quickly about what we're going to see at the MIM.
Well, that's on
and
September 15th. Okay, so that's a Sunday, and we begin at 2 o'clock. We'll have 2 45, 50-minute sets, and we're going to kind of go in a historical, chronological order. And Gumby, of course, is going to be our male singer, and we have Ruby Bina
Yeah, I think so.
is our female vocalist, and she's going to be singing as well. So the first set will have some instrumental numbers. The second set will be predominantly vocal numbers and a lot of recognizable tunes for the people.
So it sounds like it'll be a lot of fun.
Oh, yes.
And the cost for the tickets?
$32.50 and $42.50. And you can go to chapitodocumentary.com. We're also looking for if families have pictures, or it would be great to have old movies from the weddings, the many weddings that Chapito played at over the years.
Well, hopefully the show they're watching and,
Yes.
and they'll send them in. But thank you both for joining us to
Thank
talk
you,
about
sir.
this
Thank you for
legend
having
on the Arizona music scene. That is our show for tonight. From all of us here at Horizonte, I'm Jose Cardenas. Have a good evening.
Funding for Horizonte is made possible by contributions by the Friends of Eight, members of your Arizona PBS station.